evening, noons once again. Pleasant Sabbath to one and all. Today we are going to broach a very serious topic. Also, I understand that very low, but I think it's a serious topic, a very sensitive topic. So that's why I don't want to say nothing from me. I rather if it come from the source. I don't want you to feel I make up these things and saying these things, or I trying to blaspheme anybody or anything like that. Right? There are a very large Islamic population in Trinidad and a very large Islamic population throughout the world. Just as other people need our help, the Islamic people also need our help. So what I will propose you do this evening is take a little half an hour or so into this video here. It's called the Islamic Connection. Right? And let's sit down and listen. You need to sit down and listen so that you'll understand what's going on. And after we'll come back and discuss it in about 15 to 20 minutes. I think within this video is actually an hour and 20 minutes long. But I think in about an hour and about 15 to 20 minutes you should get the gist and why we have to broach this topic as Christians. You understand? Because it is very serious, right? So we wanna discuss, at least look at it for about an hour, and thereafter we will continue along our regular track of going on to James chapter 4, right? But I want you guys to just at least have a number in short burst. So we want to look at a video tonight, just about 15 to 20 minutes of the video. The video is very mind-blowing, very interesting. That the parallels that are happening here, and if you notice the topic which is about Islam, this thing gives you the truth, where Islam come from, why Islam was established, right? And it will really open your eyes as to why these things are so, and why it have so many similarities between Islam and the Catholic faith. For instance, if you look at how the Catholic women dress long time, you'll see them with the head covered, eye covered, everything. So very similar to what the Muslims do, Muslim women do. When the Muslim pray, they pray with beads. Alright? The Catholics also pray with the beads. Yes, and when we look into this video, there are a lot of parallels that are showing you that, watch me, these people are one. Right? The Catholics and the Muslims are basically one. So what I'm saying is we'll touch on it for about 20 minutes, discuss it, and when we, according to how the discussion go, after that we'll go into our normal study. James, we'll go back to James chapter 4 after. But James chapter 4 real nice, I've been saying it all most of the week. Right? So let's take a look at what we have on the screen here, and I just want to let it run for about 20 minutes, as I say, and let's see if I can get this thing focused up for you guys.
Muhammad is the name of this lecture, and it's quite a story. Islamic religion is new today, and it has some very fascinating features. It's a very exclusive religion. Nobody from the outside is allowed in. It's There are pilgrimages to Mecca. Only those of the Islamic faith are allowed to go to these pilgrimages. It is an exclusive religion. Evangelism in Islamic countries is totally forbidden. This religion has full control of the entire territory which it controls. Now, who and what is Islam? Millions of people make the pilgrimages to Mecca, where they worship at the shrine of Muhammad. What a privilege it is for them to make the pilgrimage. There's another religion which also propagates pilgrimages, and that is Catholicism. So you have pilgrimages to Lourdes and the Marian sites and to Fatima. Pilgrimage is a symbol of the great pagan religions of the past as well. Now, who was Muhammad? Muhammad Mustafa was born in 570 AD and he died in 632 AD. He fled to Medina in 622 AD after Khadija's death. Now, who was Khadija? Muhammad married Khadija when she was 25 and she was 40 years old. Her cousin, Varakwa, was a Roman Catholic, and she came from a Roman Catholic convent. So we could say she was a Roman Catholic nun. She was super rich. She lived in a convent, and she had the whole of the economy basically in her hands. And she employed this young man, Muhammad, whom she then also married. Muhammad marched on Mecca in 630 AD, 2 years before he died and 4 years before Umar became Caliph. And the Quran was compiled in 650 AD. And Muhammad, who couldn't write himself, had a scribe to write down what he saw and what he heard. And the Quran is different apparently from all other religious writings because it was a directly dictated book. So it is not just transcribed by a prophet, so they teach, but it is the very word of God, and therefore it must always remain in its original Arabic language. That is what is taught in the Islamic religion. The symbol of Islam is the sickle moon and the star. The star within the sickle moon. Now, where does this symbol come from? And who is Allah? Well, let's go to some interesting quotes, also from encyclopedias of religion and etc. Allah, he was the moon god who married the sun goddess. Together they produced 3 goddesses who were called the daughters of Allah. These 3 goddesses were called Allat, Al-Uzza and Manat. The Encyclopedia of Religion mentions that Allah is a pre-Islamic name corresponding to the Babylonian Bel. Fascinating. So this is an ancient pagan religion, and Bel or Baal is the deity. We read in Morals and Dogma, page 451, the Arabian word Aldebaran means the foremost or leading star, and it could only have been so named when it did precede or lead all others. The year then opened with the sun in Taurus and the multitude of ancient sculptures both in Assyria and Egypt, wherein the bull appears with lunets or crescent horns, and the disk of the sun between them are direct allusions to important festivals of the first new moon of the year, and there was everywhere an annual celebration of the festival of the first new moon when the year opened with Sol, the sun, and Luna, the moon, in Taurus, and the symbol of Taurus is that one over there. The crescent and disk combined always represent the conjunctive sun and moon. That means basically the male-female deity. Adoration of a celestial cow, Meret, there's the all-seeing eye, the eye of Osiris. Here are the horns, there is the disk in the horns, and it also represented the plunging of the sun god into the womb of the mother to be born by Isis. So the horns are also a representation of the moon, the sickle moon. So in later religions, or from Babylon itself, Assyrian style, there you have the half moon with a solar disk in it. And the same over here, enlarged. Note that this is Baal Hadad, the birth of the sun. If we go to Mesopotamia, we'll find the old symbol of Baal and Bel was exactly the same, the half moon and the star in it, representing the birth of the sun. Isis and Osiris, the male-female aspect. So this would be Ashtoreth and Tammuz, or Isis and Horus, the male-female. The same you find in Egyptian, as we have already discussed it. This is Baal worship, this is Lucifer worship in his male-female form. Now, the papacy has exactly the same thing, because the Pope is today the representative of the Babylonian religion. So when he says the Mass, he has a round wafer disc, its roundness coming as a symbol of Baal. And after a Mass, it is placed in a monstrance, which is a half moon. So then you have the birth of the sun, and you have it symbolized in this form. There's another monstrance in which the host is placed, representing the birth of the sun. So Catholicism uses the symbol of the half moon with the sun or the star in it. Here's a Roman Catholic church in Germany, and it has this interesting clock on it, which I photographed. There's the moon, and there is the star. And this particular star here has 8 points. And as this clock moves around, of course, every time, the long arm and the short arm intercalate, you have the birth of the sun god. Baal Hadad, Baal Hadad, Baal Hadad, every now and then, every hour of the day. Very interesting. So the symbol of Catholicism is the moon and the star, hidden, of course, in many other symbols as well. Now, this ancient religion existed before Islam, and the initiates of this religion, as we saw in Morals and Dogma, were the insiders, like Origen, for example, and the Bishop of Alexandria. These were the initiates who harbored the ancient religion. And they were Christian, so-called, but of course they were not Christian. They just propagated that for the Goyim, Catholicism. True Christianity, they fought tooth and nail and tried to eradicate, and they tried to eradicate the Word of God, as we saw, by changing it. Now, Islam arrived on the scene way after that. So the true harborers were in Christianity before they were in Islam, and they were in 2 places, Alexandria and Rome. Alexandria was eventually taken over by Christianity, and the bastion, the great library, was destroyed, and the final seat of the occult knowledge was in Rome. So Rome is the seat of the ancient occult knowledge before Islam even appeared on the scene. That is the fact. And this ancient occultism had a potent enemy. Who was that enemy? Christianity. Christianity was growing in the place where the disciples had taught it. Christianity was growing in the heartland of the Middle East, Asia Minor, all the way up to India, the Bible says, into the north of Africa. That is where true Christian doctrine prevailed. They kept the Sabbath. Only Alexandria and Rome did not keep the Sabbath. Alexandria soon disappeared as a seat, and then the Sabbath was not kept in Rome. Very interesting history. So the symbol that Catholicism uses is the star and the sickle moon, and this star, by the way, is exactly the same star as is used in Islam. Isn't that interesting? I wonder who gave rise to who. Obviously the one who is first can only give rise to the one who comes second, and not the one second give rise to the one who comes first. Isn't that correct? We think about it. So in Catholicism we find the half moon or the sickle moon with the deities in them. We find Mary replacing Jesus Christ as the mediatrix of all graces. The mediator, the sole mediator and advocate, is replaced by Mary. So here in this Roman Catholic monastery, Christ puts the crown of thorns onto Mary, and she has the holes in her hand. Mary is always depicted as coming out of a cave. Now the ancient deities always came out of a cave. Loyola the Jesuit received all his information in a cave, and it is interesting that Muhammad received all of his information in a cave. That's paganism. That has nothing to do with Christianity. Now here we see in Islamic countries, in this particular one over here, we have this strange structure over here, and we have a statue of Mary on top of it. And Mary there appeared apparently as this little gazelle, but before the king shot it, it changed into Mary, and she told him to build a monastery. And that she did, or that he did, and there is the monastery high up on a hill. Now whenever I find a monastery high up on a hill, I'm very interested, because high hills were pagan high places, where they sacrificed to pagan deities. It is interesting that all the cathedrals in the world are built on pagan places of worship. Even the Vatican is built on a pagan site of worship. Nothing has changed. So when I came to this particular place in the Middle East, I went to look for the ancient place of worship, and sure enough, on the hill, there it is, the triple arches of the ancient deity of sacrifice in a cave, as per usual. It's interesting that Mary always appears in the cave. In Fatima, she's in the cave. In Lourdes, she's in the cave. The Pope is always visiting the cave and worshipping in the cave. As Osiris represented the sun in Egyptian law, Isis represented the moon, but the truth is that Osiris represented the male active generative powers of nature, while Isis represented the female passive or prolific powers. That's Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. So it's actually a form of nature worship. These people would do well in the Bohemian Grove, worshipping the trees. The Templar revelation identifies Isis as the Black Madonna on no less authority than a former head of the Priory of Zion. The Black Madonna can't be central to the Priory of Zion. To them at least there is no doubt about the significance of the Black Madonna. You see, Osiris was both black and he was white. And he's worshipped as black and he is worshipped as white. Mary is worshipped as a Black Madonna and as a white Madonna. So we have all these interesting nuances. The Hittites used the symbol of the half moon and the solar deity. This symbol today, of course, is used by none other than the United Nations. Well, let us travel to an Islamic country today. Here is a Catholic cathedral in Amman. And I'm photographing this Catholic cathedral standing at the mosque. So I'm standing on the ground of the mosque and I'm photographing the Catholic cathedral right opposite. Now, it's interesting how Catholicism and Islam stand side by side in all the Islamic countries. And every time, I'm so surprised to see the cathedral and the mosque next to each other. You see, if you know the inside religion, behind the scenes they're actually the same. So if I look at the symbolism, on the outside of the Catholic cathedral, I have the symbol of the sun, because it was the symbol of the sun worship. And the cross, of course, the symbol also of the sun god. And there is the symbol of the sun. I go across the street, and there is the great Abdullah Mosque, one of the finest, built by King Abdullah. On the gates, you have the symbols of the sun. Same symbolism, same religion. On top, of course, now here you have the moon, the sickle moon, which the Catholic Church had on the clock. It was a symbol of Baal, or Baal. Inside this mosque, there are, of course, no pews, because in Islam you bow down and kneel on the floor, on the carpet. And if you look up at the tremendous dome, you have again the great solar blazes in this wonderful building. Islamic dress, well, you can look at old-fashioned Catholic nuns and you will find that the dress is identical. Catholic nuns wear the same dress as Islamic women of Orthodox faith. This is the great mosque in Damascus. Fascinatingly, inside the mosque, right inside is this shrine, and there is a Muslim man praying at this shrine. Now, who's he praying to? Is it to Allah there? No. He's worshipping a relic of the dead. because this is the shrine of none other than John the Baptist. Now, if you know something about Johannsenites, we've spoken about that, then you can already pick up, if you pick up the name John, you have Johansenism, then you have secret societies blended in the background. And they claim that this place has the head of John the Baptist. So an Islamic shrine in Damascus, this is, by the way, the oldest mosque, the most illustrious in that country, has this head. Fortunately, the Roman Catholic Church has a shrine with the arm of John the Baptist. I always say, if they carry on, they might be able to put him together again. I don't know. So, it is the same form behind the scenes. Inside the mosque, the women are not that important. They are relegated to the side. The men get the central positions. They are praying there with beads. In Catholicism, you pray with beads. You pray with rosaries. Now, which other religion has the priesthood just for men? The Roman Catholic Church is exactly the same, and here you have the same position in the Islamic world. The Islamic All-Seeing Eye, this is a very prominent structure that is used in all of Islam, and you will not find a taxi cab anywhere in Islamic countries that will not have the All-Seeing Eye there as a protection. Of course, it's used in Catholicism as well, and it's on the US dollar and all these interesting places. There's of course the Eye of Hathor, the Eye of Osiris, on an Egyptian temple. There it is, on a Roman Catholic pulpit. Another one on a Roman Catholic cathedral. Masonic author Carl Claudy writes, this is one of the oldest and most widespread symbols denoting God. We find it in Egypt, in India. The open eye of Egypt represents Osiris. In India, Shiva is represented by an eye, and the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry says the all-seeing eye is an important symbol of the supreme being borrowed by Freemasonry from antiquity. On the same principle, the Egyptian represented Osiris. So, Islam uses the symbol, Catholicism uses the symbol. I'm just showing you some comparisons. To the ancient Egyptians, the right eye symbolized the sun, the left eye the moon. So there you have, again, the two aspects of the sun god. Bailey then goes on to mention, this is Alice A. Bailey, that the eye of God is Shiva or Siva, the destroyer. Remember, Shiva is the Indian god who is the equivalent of Osiris. Shiva is also a synonym for Satan. Is it possible that both religions in the inner circle worship the same Lucifer, but that the outer court knows nothing about this? Well, who is Baal? Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. Whenever the Israelites made one of their almost periodical deflections to idolatry, Baal seems to have been their favorite idol. In Tyre, Baal was the sun, Ashtoreth the moon, and so we have all the evidence that they know exactly what they're doing. There is no contradiction here, for Set is the Egyptian devil and Shiva is the Indian god of destruction. Both names, Set and Shiva, are listed in the Satanic Bible as another name for Satan. And Elena Petrovna Blavatsky affirms, now we have to remember that Shiva, Palestinian Baal, or Moloch, and Saturn are identical. Is it possible that both religions serve the same master behind the scenes and that the masses are deceived, just like in Catholicism? Beautiful people who are kept ignorant. And the sincerity of the Muslim duped and misused because they are goyim, catechumens. Elena Petrovna Blavatsky links Set to Satan. Hermes, the god of wisdom, is called Tot, Set, Satan. All of these. Ancient Egypt, Set was worshipped under obscene homosexual rituals. And they had temples in which they had these homosexual rituals. For example, the Luxor Temple. I have them, but I won't show them. Now, this is an ancient pagan site, the Luxor Temple, one of the great relics of past time. Now, here we're going into the entrance, and oops, what's that? That's a mosque. And where's that mosque built? You don't mean the mosque is built into the Luxor Temple? Is that possible? Well, let's go a little closer. Yes, there it is. It's in the Luxor Temple. What does that tell you? If you had to build a Christian church today, would you go and choose the ancient pagan temple of Baal and build your church right in it? Yes or no? No, of course not. But what if the secret religion is really the same old ancient religion of Lucifer worship? Would you then perhaps do it? Perhaps, yes. So there they've done it. It's built into that temple. Amazing. On the ruins. Now let me take you to the temple of Baal, which is in another country, in Lebanon, and there it is. And on the Baal site, which is the same deity, by the way, what is that? That is a Roman Catholic place, a Roman Catholic church, on the same site. There is the cross, there is the temple of Baal. Why build it on the same site? Why have the same rituals? Catholicism does it, Islam doesn't. Do you think they have an agenda? And if we go into the great Catholic places, this is the place where Mary apparently ascended. Here is the great Cathedral in Jerusalem. On the floor you have the solar circle with all the signs of the zodiac, which, by the way, God forbids. God forbids. And this is the place where Mary lay, and then she ascended, of course, to heaven. She didn't stay dead there. On the floor you have the pagan symbols. You have all of these interesting mitzvahs and what have you, and the pentagrams, upside down pentagrams, all symbols of Lucifer. And then in the paintings, this interesting star. This is actually two squares, one inside the other, and that is how the pagan deities were represented very often, either as triangles, one within the other, or as squares, one within the other. And the squares, one within the other, were often used for Isis and Osiris. There you see it in the Roman Catholic Church, dedicated to Mary. Also on the floor of that Roman Catholic cathedral, you have the boat, you have the waves, the water, you have the P and the X. Remember that Morals and Dogma told us that that was the staff of Osiris. So that means it's actually a male phallic symbol, and the boat would be the womb. This is a very naughty picture in a nice setting. Nobody would know what that really means. Nobody would really guess that that is an obscene picture, unless you read what the Masons say about it. Now, isn't it interesting that the ship with its mast in the half moon was also the same depiction? So here is a Roman Catholic cathedral built like a Phoenician ship. Now, what has a Phoenician ship got to do with Roman Catholicism? Unless, of course, it is the womb. Now let's ask Albert Pike to explain this to us. Albert Pike writes that Isis and Osiris, the active and passive principles of the universe, were commonly symbolized by the generative parts of man and woman. The Indian lignam was the union of both, as were the boat and mast, and the point within the circle, all of which express the same philosophical idea of the union of the two great causes of nature, blah, 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 blah. So, we're still on track here. Where do we find this in the Roman Catholic Church? Inside this Knights Temple, we've been there before, but I want to show you something else. Remember last time I showed you the double-headed deal? But I'm now going to point your attention to the floor. Oops, what is that? That's an 8-pointed star. Now, who does the star represent? Well, there's the Star of Islam. Isn't that interesting? The two are identical. There's the Star of Islam in various forms. So we find the star in Islam, we find it in the Catholic cathedrals, we find it especially dedicated to Mary, and we find it in the Islamic world. Now, how does the star come into existence? It's simply a square within a square, and there you have it. If you want to have the Star of David, you just take the triangle within the triangle, and you have it. There you go. It's a sex symbol. It's occult. It's very occult, in fact. So now, this is an interesting story of a man who claims to have been a Jesuit. His name is Alberto Rivera. And he claimed that Cardinal Bear, the Jesuit general, personally instructed him on the origin of Islam. According to Rivera now, the Roman Catholic Church started Islam on purpose to take the Arabs under their control and to secure Jerusalem. Fascinating. This is, of course, highly ridiculed in the literature. Nothing like that ever happened. But let me digress and speculate a little bit. Who was first, Catholicism or Islam? Catholicism was first. And Catholicism had a major problem. You see, the Byzantine Church initially was on the side of Rome, no problem. In fact, the Byzantine emperor elevated the Roman pontiff to his level of corrector of heresies of the entire world. So yes, the Byzantine Church and Rome were initially one. Only after about 1,000 years did a split come between the Orthodox and the Catholic Church, when the Orthodox Patriarch refused to accept and acknowledge the supremacy of the Bishop of Rome. And then war broke out between these two groups and has been waging since after the Russian Revolution. Now the Orthodox Church is saying, I'm sorry. So that's been resolved. But in the first few hundred years of Catholicism's rule, what was the main problem of Catholicism? Who was the problem?
Christianity.
The true Christians. The true Christians, because Christianity had spread in the Middle East. Wouldn't it be nice if these supposed Christians of Rome could use an organization to eradicate Christianity and replace it with another form of their religion? Front organizations. They're very good at it. You know, the Jesuits created who? Freemasonry to do the work. If something, they ban Freemasonry, and if something happens, they can do it.
So now I'm talking about it.
Isn't that right? Well, they blame the Jews.
That's serious discussion.
Blame Zionism.
And
But in actual fact, it's
I just want to keep this. I just want to keep this running right now. You know. Thank you, Lisa. I just want to keep this running right now, but I know you guys want to see the interaction and so on. And so just imagine, right? According to what this professor is saying, they have taken the Catholic faith and bring out a new faith, and they are infiltrating them to take over the Middle East by putting a religion in place in the Middle East. Let's make some lovely lime juice. I tell you, it's nice. It's real nice. Let's make some lovely lime juice. Very, very nice. I'll be up myself in the free on your comments, not squinting. And I think that understand? So I say I was looking at this week and I say no, I will show you guys the video a little bit, because I don't want nobody to go around and say Marcus. Right? This is what the professor have said. His name is Walter Veith. Right? And I've been following him for a good while, and he seems to know what he's saying, and he has facts. I like to use facts. So he does come with facts, straight facts, and he shows the research to back it up, you know, which is very important. He doesn't come in with he doesn't come in with no old talk. So the long and short of it is, the Catholic people use the Islamic people to get their way in the Middle East. You understand? you have to keep in the back of your mind thesis, antithesis to be to bring forth a synthesis. And this is what all these big world powers do. They act as if they're against each other, but in the background they are one, and they have their goals to achieve. So that's what it is. It's like they're warring against each other, but it's like to bring about a certain environment or to bring about a certain agenda. And this is what these world churches do. Alright, this is what these big powerhouse do, like the Catholic Church. That's a powerhouse. And Satan has been using the Catholic Church. I'm not saying they're bad for the Catholic Church, but Satan has been using that institution to bring about certain things in the world. Okay? And the faster you get a clear mind and you understand that as a Christian, or even as somebody who is a Muslim, because I have a lot of Muslim friends. Alright? And the same way I will talk to Pentecostal, I have to talk to a Muslim. You understand? And there are billions of Muslims in this world. Next door to Christianity, Christianity and Islam is about neck and neck. The last time I checked, Islam has grown leaps and bounds, but when you go and you do your research now, you realize it's Baal worship, moon worship, sun worship, and that is not pleasing to God. And so when you go back and you read their own literature and go back and read properly, now you realize these people are being deceived, and they are being deceived by Satan. You understand? And that is very, very unfortunate. And a lot of people, some of these people are very sincere in what they do. They are very, very, very good Muslims out there. In this side, in Trinidad, we have Muslims that will go into Islam for different reasons. And then there are some who are very sincere and contrite and doing what that religion actually states to do. Feed the poor, see about the widowed and these kind of things. So they are very, very sincere. Right? There are some people that went and go down a dark road and do dark things and saying there's Muslim. Right? And some people call them community leaders. One of them was recently killed on the highway out there. He's supposed to be in the Muslim faith. Right? But if he is for peace, you can't end up man driving up alongside you and shooting up your car. You understand? So things some people go into it for different reasons. But the Muslim faith is really about peace. But what we have to understand is, in the Middle East now, these brothers over there are what you call fundamentalists. And I discussed what is fundamentalism on this channel already. Fundamentalism is what they take Quran at its word, the literal word of the Quran. Right? If we were to take the Bible at its literal word, we would still stone the video there. Right? And Jesus came and stopped all that kind of stuff. Right? There are still things in the Bible that we need to keep in accordance with what God said, and some of these things have been like all these different ceremonial laws and so on. That was nailed to be close. Not the Ten Commandments. Right? I digress. Right? So this is how it is. And these guys in the Middle East, like the Taliban and these guys, they are serious fundamentalists. And they will end their life in a heartbeat to help form a caliphate, which is just a Islamic nation. Right? There were caliphates before and they failed and they came back and they failed and so on. Right? But the long and short of it is, Muslim people are good people. Like any other person anywhere, they are good people. It's just that unfortunately, as we are discovering tonight, some of the Islamic people, Islamic faith is based on Baal worship. Now when you're talking to Almighty God don't want to hear nothing about sun worship. You understand? And this is the truth, that even though Muslims are feared and revered and feared throughout the world, you still have to witness to them. And this is why I will raise this topic. You understand? Even today, I was talking to a lady I ended up speaking to today. She was Muslim, and she told me she's a Muslim 35 years. And she explained to me why she would worship Jesus. And she explained to me why she worship Allah. You understand? But what she doesn't know, the conversation was cut short because she had to go to the bank. You know, what she does not know is that Allah is linked to a moon god. According to what Dr. Walter Veith stated there in that part of the message that we looked at before, that is sun worship. Baal is sun worship. You understand? So it is very, very unfortunate that, you know, they don't know. Now when people are ignorant to something, God wink, according to what the Bible says. But if they know and they continue in that, well, judgment. You understand? So we now have to let them know what is the truth. If they understand the truth and they still ignore the truth, your hands, you wash your hands from that and you could separate from that. You understand? But it is our responsibility, I believe, to teach them or to inform them. And they being Muslims and having some of them have a reputation or whatever, you have to broach it tactfully and introduce them to the truth. If it's by drips, you know, if some could take it full blast, well, alright, but the other give them it drip by drip, so they could understand what they are doing, who they are worshipping is not really Almighty God. And they need to be in a position where they worshiping Almighty God. Because when that sky bursts and the whole wide world see Christ coming to deliver us from the earth, is them will be calling for Allah, and you don't have no Allah. You understand? So you just have to be brave. You just have to be brave. I'll run back the next 5 minutes again here, because the information, oh my gosh, the information is stunning. The information is truly, truly stunning. Do you all want to see more? Let me know if you all want to see more in the comments now. Tell me if you guys want to see more of the video. If so, I will run it. If not, I will not run it. Who is watching there? Do you all want to see more of the video? Nadine, you want to see more of the video? Anybody? Just type yes or no in the comment section for me, please. And I'll put back on the video. Can you hear the audio?
Now, if the occult world wanted to gain
very, very
control
interesting.
and the occult world controlled Rome, why not control all occultism? Wouldn't that be interesting? I'm just speculating. I can't prove this. I'm just saying that that's what Rivera said. Rivera said nobody believes him. So let's have a look at what happened. Fatima is a very interesting place because Islam controlled Spain and Portugal once upon a time, and the Pope is here in front of the statue of Fatima. There is this shrine, the Fatima Link. The Vatican insider, Dr. Malachi Martin, has said that based on the message of Mary in the personal visitation, John Paul believes there will come a day when the heart of Islam, already attuned to the figures of Christ and of Christ's mother Mary, will receive the illumination. I like these words, you know, they sort of ring once you get to know them. It needs a second Fatima, in which they will recognize him as God's vicar on earth. So who must be recognized as God's vicar? The Pope must be recognized as God's vicar. Then, with fellow travelers like the Church of England, the Episcopal Church, and others of like mind, the Pope could be worshipped as the infallible Holy Father by over 1/2 of the world's population. I'd like to correct him. All. of the world's population. But that's besides the point. Now, early Islam, which area did it occupy? This area. This area. Who ruled over here? Who ruled there? Only Christianity. Before there was Islam, that is where Christianity was. And so Islam took hold of this area. Then by AD 750, Islam progressed and took over all this, including Spain. That's fascinating. Spain and all this Asia Minor area was controlled by Islam. Did you know who ruled in Spain? It was the Visigoths. And the Visigoths had a different gospel to Catholicism. They were more in line with the Ostrogoths, who actually were Sabbath people. Problem people that had to get sorted out there maybe for a while. Just speculating. AD 900, there they go, withdrawing from the north of Spain. The Franks were very strong Catholic supporters. Slowly, Islam is moving out. And there's this whole area controlled now by Islam. 1100 in the south of Spain. In the south there's a group which is more independent than in the north. Tremendous battle, the Spanish area. And then they control this area. And AD 1500 they're out of Spain. There's the west. The Roman Empire is totally Catholic. This is Catholic. And Rome controls the Catholic world. And Islam controls this area. Today, this is the Islamic distribution, and there are two sects, the Sunni and the Shia, and they control vast areas, a huge area. But initially, where Christianity was, today you can put Islam. Gary H. Carr, remember, speaks of the ancient mystery religion controlled by Freemasonry and the Illuminati and the World Council of Churches. Now, what if the true mystics behind the scene, the power mongers, are really in Rome, and that they control everything, including this other religion, through insiders? And then, if you put all the pieces together with all the references that there are tremendous links between the Templars and the Islamic secret societies, the Ismailis, the Karmatites, the Fatimites, the Druzes, and the Assassins. Now, the Assassins were interesting because they would kill themselves to gain an advantage. They could blow themselves up to destroy others. Do we have something like that today? Oh, yes. So nothing's changed. History is repeating itself. Now, who were these secret societies that were in cahoots with the Templars, or did the Templars control them? Who knows? Let's read about the assassins. Degrees of the assassins was thus as follows. First, there was the Grand Master, known as Sheikh al-Yabal, or Old Man of the Mountain. Second, the Dayar Kebi, the Grand Priors. Third, the fully initiated Dayas, fourth, the Rashids, the Associates. Fifth, the Fadais, devoted. Sixth, the Lasiks, or law brothers. And lastly, the common people, who were to be simply blind instruments. Does it sound familiar? The poor blind Goyim's katakumen. Designs against religion were of course not admitted by the order. Strict uniformity to Islam was demanded from all the lower rank of uninitiated, but the adept was forced to see through the deception of faith and works. So here we have a whole nation subject to these insiders, using them as human cattle. Wouldn't you feel sorry for them? Right, we have to feel sorry for ourselves because we've been duped like that as well. Thus, by the law of paradise, the assassins enlisted instruments for their criminal work and established a system of organized murder on the basis of religious fervor. Nothing is true and all is allowed was the ground of their secret doctrine. The Jesuits have the same doctrine today, which however being imparted but to a few and concealed under the veil of the utmost austere religionism and piety, restrained the mind under the yoke of blind obedience. Poor people, duped by satanic insiders. Now the Fatimites was another group that took over. The founder of the Fatimite dynasty of the Caliphs was Ubaydallah, known as Mahdi. Societies of wisdom were instituted in Cairo. The Dar-ul-Qimat, or the House of Knowledge, by the 6th Khalifa Hakim, who was raised to a deity after his death and is worshipped to this day by the Druzes. Under the direction of this man, the Grand Lodge of Cairo was formed by the Fatimites and continued the plan of Abdullah.
Let's see what going on there.
Of degrees,
let's see what going on there.
Existing proselytes and systems of initiation, blah blah blah.
In other words, we could go on and on and on. It have more and more and more proof that these people need a lot of help. You understand, short boss? They need a lot of help. They need to be guided. They need to be informed. But the challenge is doing it in a tactful manner that wouldn't cause them to get abrasive and that kind of stuff. Son, that is the problem there. You know, the problem is doing it with love. And that is how we have to go about that. And the Holy Spirit will have to guide us to witnessing in that way. Matter of fact, while I was doing my counseling for the wedding, I had a few one-on-one sessions with Pastor Dutton, and he wanted me to actually enroll in a program that teaches you how to witness to Muslims, you know. And at the time my head was just hot about the wedding and thing, you know, and I didn't take up the opportunity, but it's something I could probably look at in the future, right? The church have a program. You have to go to classes and so on. They teach you how to witness to Muslims and so on. Pastor Dutton is part of it. But as I say, you have to administer that with love, right? So now we're gonna change gears a bit and go back now to the chapter 4 of James, which is a very beautiful book. James chapter 4, and we will go through that. And I want to comment on one other thing other than James. One other thing was on my mind this week to speak about. And it's to do with COVID-19. So stay tuned for that. James chapter 4 is very rich, and we are going to be reading James chapter 4, and it's a really nice book, because in this day and age you could fall into the trap of lust so easy, so easy, with money and fame, and everybody wants to be famous on the live, and everybody wants to make a name for themselves. Social media, you know, all these things are type of lust. You know, power, people want to be powerful, people want to have money. So it's a book teaching you, a chapter that's teaching you to be a more humble in the face of these things that will be facing you. You know? Like chapter verse 10 say, humble yourself in the sight of the Lord and he shall lift you up. You know, so it's a lot of great words of, a lot of wisdom is in this chapter. You understand? And I believe it's something that we should read more often and lean on these words and get the most salient points, you know. I mean, and what it speaks of is so true, you know, like verse 7 says, submit yourself unto God, resist the devil and he will flee from you. You understand? So these are some of the points that I really like about the text, about the text in chapter 4. Right, so as we change gears, good night, Trevon. As we change gears from we'll see how this goes here. For whence come wars and fighting among you? Come they not hence, even from lust that war in your members. And right away, it tells you that conflict come because of lust. Now, I can remember when it had the Gulf War. So that's Sabbath, my brother. When it had the Gulf War, Saddam invaded Kuwait. And Kuwait was much smaller than Saddam's country, it was Iran. And this text reminds me of that situation because what they did when they invaded there, because Kuwait was so small and they had so much oil, they were very, very rich. So these men went and started stealing all the jewels and all the nice possessions. So they lusted after the wealth of that country. I mean, there were other reasons why Saddam did that. But the men in his army went out there and started stealing all the expensive things. And while they were on a certain highway going back into Iran, the Americans found them and bathed them with lead. It's some jet. You know, and I never forget those images that I saw on the newspaper and so on. And I was wondering why would they do that? I know Iran have oil too and Iran is rich also, but they just went and they looted Kuwait after they would have invaded Kuwait. And this text here, where one fighting among you come from? Lust. I can remember I was reading newspaper. They started the Manning government and they started to give contracts to community leaders to do certain works and pay the buildings and do the work and thing. And they gunned down a guy and I called Fresh. I don't actually remember Fresh, but Fresh was actually the leader. And one of the reasons given why he was targeted is because he got more contracts than the others. Same scenario. Lust. You understand? So when these guys amongst each other, and this one get 100,000 and that one get 200,000, I say, nah boy, you can get more than me. And I usually sit down in museum thinking, but very little change. Before they're happy and build a life and see about the child and the family and so on, they kill the next one because that one get more than them and them ain't like how he get more than me. And a lot of them in Lavantil, I can remember being a media photographer, but I've come across many of them dying because their contract, they got a larger contract. And that was so unfortunate. And when you read this first verse here alone, we war against each other because sometimes you sit down in church and you watch somebody hat or somebody dress or somebody car and you lust after it and you get envy in your heart and you start to pressure them. You understand? I don't want a business where I can make a lot of money. And I'm making a lot of money because they're not supporting people going out and doing business, right? No problem. My day will come. But it's because people don't want to see you reach up there because them figure you will be above them. You understand? But you can't do it who above who. Go everybody level inside a God. You understand? So envying and lusting. That's war against a member. Let's go on to verse 2. You lust and you have not. You kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. You fight war. You have not because you ask not. It's the same thing now saying with them fellas in Lavantil that I experience going on. The same thing. Now if you ask for more, you will get more. But they prefer to fight. Ye ask and receive not because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lust. You understand? That why God doesn't bless some of us, because you just want to get money, because you want to live the glamour life. That's what the Bible says. You ask amiss, right? But from verse 4 on, we're going to the next section now. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, knowing not that the friendship of the world, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God. Whosoever therefore be a friend of the world is an enemy of Almighty God. God don't like plenty of we, but plenty of we love worldliness. I'm talking to myself too. Plenty of us love the world. I am telling you facts. When you love the world, God can't be a friend. And I'm going to say something here now, eh? And all of don't get vexed with me. But you can't be a Christian, say you're following God's law, and you have a homosexual friend. You can't be following God's law, keeping God's holy Sabbath, all these things, and you and bandit is partner. You can't be living this, trying to live this life, trying to become perfect as you and your father in heaven is perfect. And you want to know secret zest. You have to be mad. You understand? It's either one or the next. It has no gray area. You understand? It's either one or the next. You understand? So we are very, very careful. Now this chapter here and short was right. It's the Holy Spirit that was to be telling you for me to read this book of James here, my friend. Because we are still being prophecy all now. You understand? Do you think that the scripture said in vain, the Spirit dwell in us lusted to evil? But he giveth more grace. Therefore he say, God resisted the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. And that is one thing I always believe in. Always try and be humble. You know what God taught me? When God come and bless me with that vehicle I driving, right? The first 2-3 weeks and thing, only wiping down, only washing down every day, if I see me vacuuming, cleaning thing, I'm all this, that, cleaning the engine thing, if I see me. I follow watching me. He say in 2 months time I want to check it back. I say, nah boy, I keep my car looking good, but the thing boy, I ain't going through that boy thing. I want to drive a new car, I want to get a new car, new brand car, I ain't going through that. Eh? Yeah, what's that? Every single time I wash down that car, I take my time and I polish him up and I dry it and all kind of thing. The next day rain fall on me. I tell you what they say. If rain and fall and I told, I say I wash on the car. The next day rain fall and wet in that car. So I said, say by like God talking to me, but yes, you get a blessing, and I believe I get the blessing because I'm a father, right? I'm not a woman. It's because I'm a father I get the blessing. And I said I think, but I can't put this thing up on a pedestal, but there's a tool to get me from point A to point B, and for convenience, and to make money, to pay bills and support my lifestyle. And you know, I stopped making that car an instrument of my desire. Now, I love cars. When I tell you I love cars, you wouldn't believe how much I love cars. And you wouldn't believe how much I love that car. But I just stopped making it into a goal. That's what I'm trying to say. Because God is a jealous God, and sometimes we take things that God bless us with and turn it into an idol, and we don't even understand that we do. Right? Yes, and so we end up making the car a symbol of our affection, and that is madness in the sight of God. Understand? So sometimes you see the car bounce and me taking it on, and because me don't want to displease my God. Some people say that is slackness. You understand? And then sometimes the way the thing doesn't work out, you can't get to fix the car. And just hands up so and just leave it so. Because material thing that's come and material thing will go. Similarly, and that's always so. Woman that's come, woman that's go. Not wife, it's a woman. And woman time was long time. Not now, married. You understand? So I stopped putting too much thing and zanzing up myself, my car. Some people, that is how they are, and they can handle it so. But I know the love I have for vehicles and things on a whole. You understand? I have to be around a car and around a gun. I just say, right? Very rich buddy. Yeah, so I said I humble myself. I take it down with the car thing, and yes, eventually I will straighten and pay the car. I promise you that. But I'm making it no hello high water priority and ignoring other things that are more important than just fixing this car. You understand? Submit yourself therefore to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. And watch me, that have worked for me many times. I remember this text. I only remember this half. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. You understand? But being able for you to resist the devil, yeah, you had to stop the damn thing affect you by your phone. In order to resist the devil, you have to submit yourself therefore to God. That's the only way you can resist the devil. You of yourself cannot resist the devil on your own. You understand? You of yourself cannot resist the devil on your own. You have to submit yourself to God to be able to resist the devil. And the day you go away from God, is that you're back and go like when you're doing the counseling. Doesn't say much way. See this line here? Is you here, your wife here, and Jesus in the middle. So you have a equilateral triangle, right? Triangle equal length side angle, right? He say all will keep going towards Jesus and getting closer and closer to God, right? He said he's there. You're hungry. God in there. The day you step out on your wife or your wife step out on you, it's because Christ is no longer the center of the relationship. And that is where you could save your marriage, because if you understand Christ was not in the center, why that happened, you could afford to forgive your wife. In other words, you could take the on. But some people now just go back to that same lust. You understand? How you gonna do me? I never do you that. But you ain't seeing is because you as the man in the household, you did not keep up your early bargain by keeping Christ in the center of your relationship. So when Christ is not in the center of your relationship, she may end up stepping out on you. She might bad spend the money. You understand? She might talk your business by your neighbor. You understand? Or like disloyalty. You understand? So once Christ stay in the center of any relationship, my relationship, right? You will find that you will keep growing and gravitating towards each other in the bosom of Christ. Once you see horning and all these different craziness that are happening, it's because Christ is not there. Simple. And if it is you want to take it upon yourself to end your relationship and move on to the next one, Krampus must be your pipe. You understand? Because if you can humble yourself to know what I is the man, I is supposed to be the priest in the household, and I ensure that Christ was the center of the relationship, that horn is on me. I had to deal with that. I just eat that and swallow that and pull myself and let the relationship go on. But some of us don't do that. Some of us fly a high horse. And I, like this, we are stand out. Right? And I is in the middle of sin. S-I-N. Let's progress, let's proceed. Right? Submit yourself therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw nigh to God, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. Simple instruction. Draw nigh to God, he will draw nigh unto you. Right? Submit yourself to God, you'll be able to resist the devil. Simple. Purify your hands, cleanse your hands. You know you do wrong things, you know you keep something from somebody, go and get it done. And that's serious thing. If you know you disrespect your mother, where your girl, your wife, wherever, and you need to apologize. Be a big man. Understand? Make sure your hands clean. And don't be double-minded. A man not supposed to be double-minded. When he make up his mind to do X or Y, do it. You understand? Be decisive as a man. But always make sure, think it over properly, pray about it. And if God tell you your decision, make your decision. You understand? Be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to heaviness. Humble yourself inside the Lord, and he shall lift you up. That narrative just keep repeating itself in this book here tonight. Speak not evil one of another, brethren. He that speaketh evil of his brother and judge his brother speaketh evil of the law and judgeth the law. But if thou judge the law, thou art not a doer of the law, but a judge. Judge not lest you be judged. You understand? There is one lawgiver who is able to save and to destroy. Who art thou that judges? Who art thou that judges another? Go to now. Ye that say, today or tomorrow we will go into such a city. And continue there a year and buy and sell and gain. Whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow. For what is your life? It is a vapor that appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away. In other words, don't tell yourself, I'm going to do this tomorrow. Or people as well as teach you that. We just like to make plans and make all kind of plans, and I am so guilty of that because I'm an overthinker. I like to make plans and research and all kinds of things. We need to take it down and let God just unfold everything for us. Right? We don't know what will happen tomorrow. You understand? We don't know. And this is why you have to just occupy till he comes. You understand? We have to just occupy until God comes. Because if you thinking about all kind of things, you don't know what will happen tomorrow, you don't know if your life will end tomorrow, we don't know. We don't know if we have a big earthquake here, we don't know if people dead, we don't know if poor people will kill all of it, we don't know. You understand? And our life, we just here for a little time. We time on earth here is nothing, so us living 80 years with so much. 70 years and we go on, that is small thing. In terms of eternity, that is nothing. You understand? 1,000 years is nothing and none of we living 1,000 years. You understand? In our natural life. You have to, let's say you have 1,000 years, you have to go to heaven to spend 1,000 years and then come back here to spend eternity. You understand? So, don't even take no thought for that because our life is like a vapor. That just come and just fade away. You understand? People that just die and in 2-3 years time you forget about them and then as time goes on you keep forgetting about them. You understand? You don't feel no more emotion and things. That's how sad it is. So you can't really think too much about tomorrow too much. You can't really be overstepping God. Then you have to ask God to guide you along the way or what going on with the program for tomorrow. You can't make that decision because you not in control of your destiny. I see some people, when they stick this TV, how about the stick inside the head and I think it's Amazon. I don't know why that. Amazon TV. You don't watch Amazon TV, but every time you stick in, well, you stick always in the TV. Once you turn on the TV to go on YouTube, sometimes you just stick the thing, they just have this thing that's come up in the background, all the Amazon shows and then they just be advertising. And one of the shows, you'll say, for the first time, I'm in charge of my destiny. That is the big line in the thing there. I keep listening to that. And I said, babes, you know, she can't be in charge of her destiny. It's because of this text here. She don't know what tomorrow brings. So you of yourself cannot be in charge of your own destiny. Buju Banton sing a song, I wanna rule my destiny. You cannot rule your destiny. I am telling you that. God have to rule your destiny. When you get up in the morning and say a prayer, God, what shall I do today? Alright, there's the program for today. Go to work and come back home. You are not in control of your destiny. And the faster we know that, the better. For that he ought to say, right? This is what you're supposed to say. If the Lord will, we shall live and do this or do that. If the Lord will. But know ye rejoice in your boasting. All such rejoicing is evil. You know, man, the Bible is something else. You think that church is sitting there like up in the morning, I go and talk to the boss. And I go and ask for a raise. And you go for that. You're vaccinated. You want to get a vaccine, you're going on. Take a month off. You want to get a raise? Take a month off. You don't want to take no vaccine. You want to come to my place and you're not vaccinated? But it's a madman. Go and watch the memo on the computer there. Everybody working, you have to get vaccinated. You understand? Therefore, to him that know good and doeth it not to him, it is sin. So if you know you're supposed to consult your God and you don't, in God's eye, that is sin. There ended the reading of the book of James. You all are free to make your comments as you go along in terms of what we just read and what we just watched. Alright, now on to the third segment now. On to the third segment now of what I want to touch on before I go in my beds. I want to discuss this COVID thing in relation to Adventist people. And there's a big split in the church when it comes to this vaccination business. And all kind of videos, people selling me all kind of videos, I watching it and I see this is madness. You understand? Now the official position of the church, and some people frown upon that, whether we like it or not, we baptize into this church. Right? So if the church leadership praying to God for a solution, and that is what they get, that is what you have to go with. Because he is a part of the church. He is not a Tusian, he is an Adventist. The official church position on the vaccination matter is you should make your own choice, do your own research, and you make your own choice. Now, some people within the Adventist church have taken it upon themselves to become prophets in this regard, and disregarding what the church's official position is. Right? And vexing with some pastors who vaccinate and all kind of craziness. Right? It is your choice. You are free to make a choice. Nobody cannot force you not to, or nobody can force you to get a vaccine. Alright? Everybody in Adventism, and if you don't know, I will tell you tonight, it is not the mark of the beast. Everybody in Adventism agrees it is not the mark of the beast. Okay? Some people, like I was talking to my doctor this week, and when the doctor span, we said we had a nice discussion. Some people, no, he's a doctor, so it's obvious he's for the science. Right? Some people believe, like Dr. Span, he believes it is not the actual time of trouble, but the little time of trouble. That's not the real deal in reach yet. And my next pastor partner, Pastor Dottin, he said he truly believes this is this period we're going through, this whole COVID situation and all these choices we have to make, and so is a type of a mock exercise. Walter Veith also says the same thing, and I believe that. Alright? Right now, the end is not known. People talking about the end and the end and the end. Let me tell you something. The end will come and when you realize it's the end. Is a certain deception will come upon the earth. And if you are not studying and awake and awoke, or whatever let's say, you will fall into the deception. You understand? The end is not known. A lot of people seem to think the end is known. A lot of Adventist people who ought to know better are going around telling people that is the mark of the beast. And every Adventist knows Revelation 13. Revelation 13 clearly states it will cause both big and small, rich and poor, to receive a mark in the right hand or in the forehead. What does the way does with the right hand? The majority of people in the world is right-handed. This is what you do your work with. And what happened to your brain is where your seat of your decision making is. So if even you don't work on this on the Sabbath day, right? You will think that the Sabbath is Sunday. That's right. No, it's the time of the end, not the end. People, the way I analyze it is this, and I said it here before. when Paul was shipwrecked, he was shipwrecked many times. One time he got shipwrecked and vipers bite him, nothing happened to the man. Now, if I choose to take a vaccine, no harm will come upon me because I am a child of the king. That is my philosophy. Now, if you choose not to take the vaccine and you believe no harm will come upon you because you are a child of the king, you are in your right. Don't take the vaccine. But don't be going around spreading false information, because when you look at it, when you look at the statistics, when you look at the numbers, the fact remains that basically less people dying, people dying in Trinidad today than yesterday. It's because more and more people are getting vaccinated. So the science is ringing out as true. The more people are vaccinated, the less people are dying. Yes, less people vaccinated in Tobago, more people dying in Tobago. Less people vaccinated in Grenada, more people dying in Grenada. Chuckman, I hope you're earning that from that. You understand? Everywhere that people are not taking the vaccine, we have more deaths. So what does that tell you? God, but what time are we in now? Come on, people think, man. We are in the information age. What did the Bible say about the information age? In the last days, men will be running to and fro, gaining knowledge. So you all don't think men have the knowledge to fight against these diseases? And I've been saying it over and over. This is not the end of diseases. Oh, stroke, okay. Stop here now. Right? This is not the end of diseases. You think this pandemic is the last pandemic? It will have things coming. Look, the polar ice caps are melting. There are things in the permafrost up there that our bodies are not accustomed to. Some diseases may come in the atmosphere and we will have to treat it. We can have a next pandemic in 10 years. The polar ice caps are melting. God is slowly withdrawing His spirit from the face of the earth. What you all think as Seventh-day Adventists who supposed to know the truth? Here the next thing now. Seventh-day Adventists have the most hospital, right? Clinics, right? And teach you the health message more than anybody in the face of the earth. Now the Catholics have hospitals too, right? And the Pentecostals have 1 or 2 little hospitals and so on, right? But the whole thing the Adventists is known about the health message, right? And about Revelation and Daniel and so on. And we are thinking all this nonsense. My brother is here telling me tonight that they are trying to splice our genes and change our DNA. So there, RNA is a messenger. That has nothing to do, it don't go beyond your cellular level. It just go to your cells. It don't go down in your DNA. Right? If they change our DNA, the color of our skin or our eye or the shape of our nose will change. So we're talking about nonsense. You understand? If they change your DNA, when you make a child with a woman and they change your DNA, that will transfer into that child and something different will come out. Subtly, but it will have a difference. Alright? And that technology they sent in that last video Sunday for me, that is not what is implemented in the vaccines now. And if it is you're so afraid the new technology, alright, no problem. Use the Sinopharm. Sinopharm is a dead virus, the same virus that take up a day like any other vaccine. And that is how they make the Sinopharm. Why are they getting pregnant women? That because the government realized that they make the Sinopharm just like how they make any other thing from long time. Any other vaccine from long time. So they decide to give pregnant women that one. You understand? So please. And I'm talking to strictly Adventist people here. We ought to know better, okay, when concerning this vaccine and time at the end and all these kind of things. Right? No man knows the time of the hour. No man. Not even Jesus Christ. Father don't tell Jesus Christ the time of the end. You understand? So what we ought to do is live our life circumspect so that anytime the end come, we ready. Right? And don't be trying to wax up what to come when he ain't come yet. Right? Clues to look for when the end time coming. When countries have the freedom to choose openly with no hindrance, that is when you know the time end will come. Because Matthew 24, Matthew 28, what does it say? The message must go out onto all the world as a witness. Then the end shall come. The message is going through Facebook and so on, and all these different wireless satellite broadcasts and so on. It have all different things going on there. But certain places like China and North Korea, these people do not have the freedom to worship. And until or unless something happens to change those situations in those countries, then I will say yes, the end is near. There is no way God is going to come and condemn 2 billion people in China because they didn't have a chance to worship Him in spirit and in truth. That is what we have to think about. I am telling you that for you to live anyhow, you know. But these are the signs. This is how we gauge the end time. You have to look at politics. You have to look at geopolitics. You have to look at world politics. Look what happened in Afghanistan. The whole place they're locked down again. They have no freedom of choice. They're only given Islam. Anything outside that they behead you. So these people don't have an opportunity to learn the truth. And unless they have that opportunity to learn the truth, Christ cannot come. I don't believe Christ could come. And according to what Matthew 28 says, He cannot come. Exactly. If that vaccine was supposed to be the mark of the beast, or people will die in 2 years' time, whatever, all kind of nonsense in here, you don't think the spirit of prophecy would have outlined that and warned His people? You see anywhere in the Bible they tell you do not go for surgery? Man will increase in knowledge. Look, you know I tell you Dr. Span, he have a daughter there. I met the daughter there once when I went to see Dr. Span. And the daughter brighter than the father. So I said, Doctor, what she's studying now, how much years it took you to get there? He said it took me 20 years to understand and learn what she's studying now. So that's what I tell you, people's minds are opening up and people are learning at a much faster rate. Look, I bathed my son today and he is pressing a button to turn off the shower. And he's only a year and 2 months. These children know even to press a shower that he knows the difference when that shower is on or off. He press the button and he tap down below and he turns off the shower. And when I put it back on, he turns it off. So these children are learning at a much faster rate because we are in the time when information is going to and fro. God's word will never fall on the ground. So please. If you don't want to get vaccinated, fine, that's your choice. But don't be spreading false information, man. And don't be vexing with nobody who take the vaccine. That is their choice. And stop telling people what is the mark of the beast. Nonsense. Adventist people cannot tell people no vaccine is the mark of no beast. Because we know full well is the mark of the beast is worship. And who you worshiping? What day you worshiping? So you cannot go about telling people nonsense about the vaccine. The vaccine have nothing to do with that. When I sit down and talk to the doctor, I said, no, I had to say something tonight because it's going on too long. And for people who should know better, to be digging up in all kind of sand. If you see this video, I sit down and watch. They're going all along into gene splicing to say the injection is a splice of genes. Nonsense! And Adventist people perpetuating this lie. Come on, my brethren, all around the world, stop it. Stop it. If you want to get vaccinated, go and get vaccinated. If you don't want to get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. Because the science now is telling us now, the same doctors are telling us, those who have went through and get it naturally and overcome it are better off than those who are vaccinated. So if you want to develop natural immunity, no problem. It's just you taking a risk. I end up in hospital. I can't afford to take that risk. So I got vaccinated. You understand? I big and fat. You understand? I don't know if I have comorbidities. I don't want to tell my child and my wife. I'm an unborn son. You understand? So I run and I take my vaccine. You understand? But for those who are so young and strong could fight it off, better fit for you. But just don't carry it for your old mother with might have comorbidities. Because this is how dread this disease is. That's how Satan make this disease so dread. Your immune system, you can still carry it around on your fingers. You might touch somewhere, somebody spit there, so the little boulders, the little vapors come out of the mouth and land somewhere, and you touch that, and you have it in your hand. You infect yourself, it's not affecting you. You ain't falling down or nothing, but you could carry it for your mother. You understand? So the better thing is to get vaccinated. Drop down your viral load. If you get infected, your viral load will drop down. So that way you can come through your boulders and it's not spreading to this one, that one, the other one. You understand? You see people in Tobago now is more younger people now. Bedding up in Tobago now. Because all of them up there zesting. Going this house and that house and this house party and that house party and they're zesting up there. You understand? Look what going in Grenada. I watched that when they cursed the government and they're dancing up in the road. I know all of them watch that video, right? They play the black bass, the black tar, and they will jarry up themselves and because they want a effing vaccine, right? Now look what going on in Grenada, people didn't. And more to come because they don't have a different strain of them now, the new whatever it name, MU it name. Right? And it's spreading like wildfire in Grenada. You understand? And I think that is a very serious thing them doing, because what them do is them flying God face. And that my estimation, them flying God face. But God don't do like revelry already. So you go in revelry, plus you cause the authorities. Collectively. Corporate, that is what you call corporate costs. They cost the government cooperatively. In other words, all together with one voice and one mind. So in my estimation, whatever they get, they have to take. You understand? Whatever Grenada get, they have to take. Because all you cost the government and all was reveling in the streets, and God hates revelry. You understand? So for me, please, who want to go and get vaccinated, and it's your choice. You say your prayers according to what the church says. Say your prayers, you do your research, and you make your choice. The time a pastor, he afraid to give the vaccine. He want to go and preach in a country, but to go in the country, he had to get vaccinated. You understand? You know the man ended up taking the vaccine. Yeah, St. Vincent they take a big sword and bust the Prime Minister's head. Because all they don't want no vaccine. Because all they take talk and dice the part again of it. None of these people are getting correct information. It's the old talk again because the information age. Right? Look, I have people in this life here following me, listen to what I had to say. You understand? I have many other people with many more followings than I have. You understand? And they take on whatever these people say and take it and they run with it. You understand? Because everybody have the ability to go live. Right? And everybody trying to build a name for themselves because they have money in this thing. You understand? So a lot of people now taking information and running with it and tying up themselves. St. Vincent to flying God face. I am saying that. Because you can't get so vexed and pelt a stone and hit your prime minister, right? Which is the leader, whatever he do or he didn't do, that's not my business. All I am saying I look at is the office. You understand? It cannot be who was the prime minister. Yeah, the MU strain. Mu, right? It cannot be who is the prime minister of the office. You know, in Trinidad, but now, in Trinidad, had they done that to Rowley, you know what can happen there? You know the kind of firepower special guns we have in walking around with? The kind of guns? And what those guns could do, the cyclical rate of those guns, the rate of fire? Eh? Let's imagine one big stone fell. Boss here in special guns want to go and shoot in that direction. You know what can happen there? Them lucky is Grenada and them fellas and them not on that. But these people down here is a different training and different mindset to them. A fella, as a soca artist, was running down Manning Entourage and kept speeding up behind Manning. And then there goes something like that. You hear what I'm telling you? So just imagine. You pelt a stone at Rowley and all kind of special branch man, you don't know where has sniper, you don't know how we have what and who watching and who ain't watching. So in my estimation, those people in Grenada heard. Even in Barbados also. And it all boils down to education and research. You must do your own research. You understand? Get your facts for yourself. I want to advise people. And I agree with that. Get your own facts. And if you pray and God will tell you, you feel, God tell you, don't take the vaccine, better don't take. If you're dead, you're dead. If you survive, you survive. If you kill your mother, then you're on your mother's business. You understand? But it's your own choice. And my grouses, Adventist people ought to know better, and to be telling people it's the mark of the beast, and this is the time of the end. Foolishness. Understand? Yes, we are near home, but this is not the end. Because there will be worse disasters to come upon this face of this earth. There will be worse pandemics to come. There will be worse disease. Matthew 24, right? In the last days, there will be disease and pestilences upon the face of the earth. You understand? This is just one. You understand? And because people have gone far, far away from Leviticus chapter 11, this is why these things are happening. Men and the own scientists, I saw a scientist on one of those news stations there saying, unless we stop mingling with animals, in other words, until we stop eating animal flesh, we will always have diseases jumping over from animals onto humans. Right? And we know what happened in Wuhan with them eating bat and eating snake and all kind of foolishness in those markets they have over there. Right? So unless mankind go back to God diet, we will always have these crazy diseases coming upon us. Understand? And yes, there are evil men who will try and weaponize it. And yes, there are men out there who will find a cure for it. You understand? And use technology, because God has blessed us with a beautiful mind that we're able to discover and get solutions for the human race. That is all it is. You understand? A cell phone cannot be the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is worship. You understand? Your cell phone opening a door now. You understand? Craziness. You can't kill no president and disrespect no leader, no country. Whether good, bad, or indifferent. God set up kings and God take down kings. You understand? God didn't appoint nobody want to kill the Asian president. It's some greedy businessman in like what he's saying and all this kind of thing, they won't take heed. They're not taking heed. You understand? So watch, I am not going to be surprised when a bagger man dead in Grenada, when a bagger man dead in Barbados, and a bagger man dead in St. Vincent. I will not be surprised. Right? So people, it's almost 10 o'clock. I want to go and sleep. Some of you, please, some Adventist bedroom, stop it. Let whoever want to take the vaccine, let them take it. Who don't want to take it, fine. It's a free choice. Right? And if your workplace mandating, if you work in a hotel and they want you to come out to work and have to take the vaccine, don't be stupid. Take the vaccine and go to work. So you cut off your nose to spoil your face? That's stupidity. You working amongst people, anything can happen, you don't know where they're coming from. Better you safe than you're sorry. And you feel as this disease is a joke, it's not a joke. It's a very serious disease. You understand? So for please, all you do what all you have to do, whether if you don't want to do it, open your own company and you do your own thing for your own self. Right? If you have to go somewhere and work and ask you to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. Look how many police officers there, like 13 police officers dead. And a whole set of them 5 officers in Tobago died because they refused to take a vaccine. That is your life. It's your life. According to the Prime Minister, it's your life you're giving up, not mine. And not my family on. You understand? So they enjoy the rest of your night. I go in and look to organize something there and go and take a little sleep. Hook up all the children, pray for all the children, pray for your wife, hug she up tonight and love she up. Yeah. If once you're married, you're allowed to make love on a Sabbath night. Okay? Right? I am going now. My wife upset with my son's sleeping, so I want to go on over there myself and go and take a sleep. Brilliant! The Vatican giving out vaccine? People they just be thinking foolishness and jeopardizing your life and others. I mean, if you develop natural immunity, great for you, but there may not be somebody in your family that be able to think it, to withstand that, and to end up in the hospital with mucus balls down in your lungs, and if you survive, you can't breathe good afterwards. And for the men, once you get COVID, there's a great possibility you may experience erectile dysfunction. I'm telling you, that's one of the reasons why I don't get a vaccine. I'm telling you. They said that one of the things that come with COVID is erectile dysfunction. So if you want your Johnson to continue to perform, do what you have to do. You understand? And young people who got COVID having erectile dysfunction now. You understand? So it is not no conspiracy. From every 100 years or so, we just get a pandemic in the globe. Right? The Spanish flu came and went, everything coming and going. We had to wear masks back in those days, the same 10 people to a funeral and wedding and all these kind of things. These things will come and it will keep getting worse and worse. The end time is like a woman travailed in birth. That's what the Bible says. You have to listen to what the Bible is saying. Every time the contractions getting worse and worse and worse. So in other words, events on this earth will continue to get worse and worse and worse till Christ comes. Why people can't understand that? This is just part of the course. There's going to be bad tsunamis coming on this earth. There's going to be meteorite going to crash on this world and kill a lot of people. Right? When the meteorite crash, you're going to have tsunami. Death and destruction. Right? You're going to have bad earthquake coming on this earth. All kind of 12 point something on the Richter scale, killing thousands of people. Right? They have worse diseases to come, worse than this corona here. Watch the progression in diseases over time. Each one that comes gets worse than the last one that came before. Even the common cold now is a very, very bad disease. You have to take an injection to survive. It's the same thing. In 10, 20 years time, you might have to take an annual shot for the COVID. And if you don't take the shot, you might end up sick unto death. I am telling you that is what it's going to get. I am telling you that based on what the Bible says, this is what will happen. The end times will be like a woman travailing in birth. When a woman giving birth, the contractions don't be so painful. It'll be and getting louder and louder and louder until the baby come out. You understand? There will be, I am predicting now, there will be a nuclear exchange on this earth before Christ come. Somebody go launch. How do you feel this, kicks? The Bible says there is a time of trouble coming that no man has ever seen in the book. And that could very well be a nuclear exchange. If Pakistan and India go to war and have a nuclear exchange, half of the whole wide world could dead. Because the nuclear isotopes will go up in the upper atmosphere and stay there for months and years and block out the sun. It has no sun to grow nothing, no more food. You understand what I'm telling you? There's going to be a time of trouble on this earth that no man has seen before. So this pandemic is just one thing in a build-up of what is to come. Read your Bible and do not be deceived. I don't understand how people don't read the Bible for themselves. Just imagine Pakistan and India annihilate each other. You know what happened to the whole wide world around us? That same poison will be circumnavigating the whole wide world and killing people for years. And the people who survive will make Down syndrome trend. The people who will actually survive it is people in our areas lower under the equator. The poison may not come down by us. And then people will be getting cancer easy. All kind of madness will happen in this world. We don't know what will happen. Let's hope God don't give us that. Exactly. Go and do your research and see what that does to the human body. And if you get it one time and you vaporize, well, you vaporize. But when you have to prolonged effect of that nuclear bomb, that is a serious thing. It have things worse than nuclear war. It have germ warfare. Right? It have chemical and biological weapons that it can unleash on populations. If they didn't do that already with the COVID. You understand? So stop making a mountain out of a molehill. Things will deteriorate here. We are still living nice here. Things will get very bad here before Christ comes. This is not the end. It is the beginning of the end. It is not the end. Some people telling you and deceiving you about this is the end. This is not the end, my friend. The Catholic Church is not operate yet. America ain't giving cheap power to the Catholic Church to do people who keeping the truth. That is not happening yet. You understand? And that is what Revelation chapter 13 states. Right? The beast shall give power to the dragon. The beast is the lamb-like beast. It's America and the dragon is the Catholic Church. Learn that. Understand that. You understand? And that's it. It's now 10 o'clock. You go and knock on the chair and pray for your wife. And those of you who are married, if your wife want to make love to your wife, then it's your wife. Whether it's Sabbath or not, listen. Bed is undefiled. Alright, so have a good day. Tomorrow, keep the Sabbath day holy for please. Those of us who are under that order, let us keep trying to live within that and keep God's 10 commandments. I'm going in my bed.